Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining, man. Good morning, Sith. Good morning, Chris Gonzalez. Today is a good day. We got the Cuache Mike. What's up, July 26th? Morning Countdown Creations. Thank you for joining us. Midtown, Texas. Good morning. Said, waiting for this app has me feeling like a kid on Xmas morning. Yeah, Seth is our new celebrity. He made it big. Right? That's one thing we got to ask Mike. Did his point guard skills get recognized yesterday during his refereeing? Good morning, Vane Stain. Good morning, Sam Salinas. Morning, Matt Lerma. Thanks for joining, man. He's a known lambaster. Spurs bench did bring it, man. I've seen enough, man. Bassey, he needs to start over Collins, man. Give that man some minutes.
Welcome to another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
Good morning, San Antonio. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast. We are bringing this show live to you from beautiful West San Antonio, from the beautiful area of Marbach, Puro Exit 7. It's a good day right now in San Antonio because you know what? The Spurs actually won a damn game last night against OKC. I know a lot of you all Spurs fans that left them for dead, thinking that they were going to just get blown out the water. That was not the case. Charles Bassey, that kid, give him some minutes immediately. Let him start over Booty Crumbs Collins, man. I've seen enough. They need to go ahead and insert that brother into the lineup, man. He needs those minutes. Collins, even though he might not score a ton of buckets, that kid brings the energy, man. He got no fear. You saw the team responding yesterday without Wemby. They played a hell of a game. This is probably one of the best games that I've seen all season long. The Spurs proved that they can win without Wemby. This was just a great game overall. I mean, I was excited. I was yelling. I felt that passion I haven't felt in a long time watching this team. It almost felt like I was watching the Spurs of old out there, man. Them getting after it on the defensive end, bringing that energy from the get-go, knocking down shots, being able to knock down some open three-pointers. I mean, you couldn't say enough. You knew OKC was going to go ahead and go on a run, and we saw that. But in the past, this Spurs team would have folded easily. But they went ahead and showed some grit and some grind in that crunch time, especially Stephon Castle, man. He had that huge block near the end of the game against Shai. So, I mean, you couldn't say enough about Stephon Castle, man. That kid, he's the truth, man. I didn't think he was going to be this ready. I thought he was going to be a decent player, but this kid's showing you he's something special, man. There's a special type of player out there that you're watching in Stephon Castle. The kid is the truth. Give him more minutes, man. Let him ball out. I don't know, man. When Jeremy Sohan returns, what are you going to do? You have him coming off the bench, or you just giving him, get Stephon Castle those minutes and keep him in the starting lineup, man. I think the kid's earned it. Thanks for joining, Pletcher. He says, see, they're better without Wemby. We need to trade him. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they proved that they can win without Wemby. So that's a great sign there. It shows growth as a team. That means that this team, when Wemby comes back, you need to see him still play with the same intensity that they played against OKC yesterday. I hear something right now. I think we do have a Michael Jimenez sighting.
Michael Jimenez sighting.
He's if he's not late, he's not on time.
Can't blame me for this one, dude. I left 10 minutes earlier than normal. CPS Energy screwed me today.
Look at this. We had a great comment here from Tex-Mex Frank. He says, I have my papers, green card, and I'm ready for the show.
And we have James
Papeles.
Pledger from San Antonio Sportscast saying, Mike today, see, they're better without Wemby. We need to trade him. Pledge, thanks for being in. Hey, I apologize for being late. CPS Energy shut down traffic on the way over here. I called Joe, and I was like, Joe, I'm in no man's land. Do you want me to power through and get to your house, or do you want me to circle on back and do the show from home? Either way, it was going to be late, so I apologize for that.
Sam Salinas, because you weren't here. He says, wow, Joe canceled Mike.
So we have a lot to get into today. Obviously, the Spurs got that big victory on national TV. We showed them up on TNT. No Vassell, no Wemby, no Sohan, no problem. Spurs got a victory over the OKC Thunder, one of the best teams in the West. Yeah, they didn't have Chet Holmgren, but still, we didn't have our three best scorers. Big thing. We're going to talk about that, right?
Look at JHNSB.
Yeah.
Collins made a clutch three.
He did on his birthday.
You know what? F that dude. He's still booty crumbs, man.
Dude, the game was sealed on a Zach Collins three-pointer from the corner. You can't, they were starting to hemorrhage. They were starting to give up the lead, and it was a minute to go in the game. Things were getting kind of hectic. The officials were swallowing their whistles, and they were one possession away.
Yeah.
The Oklahoma City was one possession away, and they tossed the ball to the corner to Zach Collins, and I'm like, oh, my God, no. Don't shoot it. He shot it, and it went in.
You know what? Dude, even the sun shines on a dog's ass every now and then. Dude, that's what happened.
That was the perfect time. Okay, so much to get into about last night's game. Okay, and I'm sorry, 75% of the show is going to be Spurs because we have a lot to get into. First and foremost, Joe, Charles Bassey, where have you been?
No, they need to give that brother some minutes, man. Immediately. I've seen enough. I want to see more Bassey and less of Collins.
Bassey had himself a game. How did Stephon Castle go from having a terrible shooting day to suddenly showing up in the fourth quarter? What a great performance down the stretch by Castle. CP3, this is the guy that always gets hurt. He's not missing games. He's going out there. He's being the floor general, and he's getting the best out of Castle. He's getting the best out of that. Mitch Johnson, I have two polls on Twitter right now.
Yeah.
At MJ Acquire Taste. First poll question is, give the dude a letter grade. A, B, C, D, or F, right? We did this a couple of weeks ago. Spurs are 5-5 with Mitch Johnson as interim head coach, right? Give him a letter grade, and right now getting rave reviews. Second poll question I have is this. Are we going to go at it as in Mitch we trust, or are we going to go at it and say that when Pop finally makes it official that he retires, that we want to have the Spurs to have this exhausting process where they go off and they interview the Steve Kerrs of the world and the Budenholzers of the world and all of that stuff? Do you want to have this whole quote-unquote due diligence, or do we want to just roll with Mitch? So you can go to MJ Acquire Taste, and we'll update those polls as time goes on.
The Drew Show says, I just about to type that dog's ass comment. I'm just saying, man, the sun shines on the dog's ass every now and then, and that's what happened with Collins yesterday with that three-pointer made.
Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 will be on at 10:30. We're going to get into the San Antonio Current article where they tried to cancel me yesterday, and no, Joe was not trying to cancel me. I was just a few minutes late. My apologies. But Joe, I think we need to have a discussion about the X's and O's with Jeff, right? I want to get into the X's and O's with Jeff, but behind the scenes, we need to talk about what is going on with the Spurs when it comes to their lineup play. Today on Locked On Spurs, I'm the guest with Jeff Garcia. We recorded this yesterday, and we're talking about the analytics, and I called it, Joe. I called it Spurs Moneyball. And if you've ever seen the movie Moneyball with Brad Pitt,
Yeah.
it's basically about putting together a lineup of misfits that work together. And one of the things that I argue with Jeff Garcia about, and it was just a point that I made, was just because you are the top 5 players on the team when it comes to talent doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be in the starting lineup. Give you an example. Monty Ginobili. Was Monty Ginobili a top 5 Spur when he was with the team? Of course, but he came off the bench.
There's nothing wrong with coming off the bench,
Right.
man.
Nothing wrong with that. The Spurs we have seen, and this was posted earlier today, earlier this week, the analytics suggest that the Spurs' best lineup out there is Wemby, obviously. It's CP3, Castle, Champagny, and Barnes. That's the best 5 of the Spurs. Is that the best 5 players on the team? No. Because Devin Vassell is a top 5 player on this team.
It's a good mix.
Jeremy Sohan's a top 5 player on this team, but it's a good mix. But Joe, the problem is, it's not a problem. It's actually now we're realizing this. I believe that Mitch Johnson has become so successful so early with the Spurs. And yes, it's a 5-5 record.
Yeah.
But with a team that was 22-60 last year and was 22-60 the year before that, and was under 500 the last 5 seasons in a row, I believe that Mitch Johnson is about analytics. Because if you see what he's doing out there with these lineups, these are lineups that Pop was not doing. He's bringing in these combinations that I think fit because it's a different mentality. And this is not going to be a Pop bashing show. This is going to be a Mitch Johnson praising show.
No, I think he's done a great job in Coach Pop's absence. The one thing that I do like about Mitch Johnson, and somebody had put it in the chat as well, as you can see that there's a passion and there's a fire in him when he's coaching. He's getting into these players, and I love it, man. He's getting mad at them if they're not shooting the ball correctly. They're missing assignments. He's not saying, oh, it's okay, just sit down on the bench.
Right.
He's getting in their ass, and that's what they need. You know, they need direction.
So we have a comment coming in from Anthony Swartz saying, Mike, Mitch gets an A, bro. He was thrown in at a last minute's notice. Most importantly, he calls timeouts when necessary. Pop would let that crap run up. Basically saying that Mitch calls timeouts and extinguishes that fire immediately. And again, I'm trying not to have a Pop bashing moment here. But you know how Pop sometimes lets the game just kind of go? Just see what the team does? Mitch Johnson is like, no, man. If we're up 12 and they cut it down to 8, we're calling timeout immediately. And that's what Pop used to do. We call timeout immediately, extinguish that shit. Right? And what I like about what Mitch Johnson does, and we've seen this on TV. I've been to 2 Spurs games in the last few weeks where you see Mitch Johnson call timeout, Joe. And you know what? He doesn't say, come to the bench, come to me. You know what he does? He goes to the players. He says, we're going to have this timeout at the free throw line. And I think the players are responding to him because he has an intensity upon himself. That dude is not just a young guy with deer in headlights hoping that things work out. This guy is seizing the moment and understands that this is his time to shine. I had somebody on Twitter.
I think he's Pop's replacement, man.
Yeah. I had somebody on Twitter post that he's auditioning for a job with the Spurs.
I think he's already got it, man.
Okay.
Low key, I think they already gave it to him.
I don't doubt that. I think,
they have to wait and make it official.
Pop ain't coming back, dude.
No,
Pop ain't coming back.
He'll come back, I think, at the end of the season to give him his flowers.
Right. But I mean, he ain't coming back full time.
No, man. He can't.
So here's the thing. People, I was so not offended. That's not the word, but I was kind of taken aback a little bit by someone saying, and it was multiple people saying this, that he's auditioning for the head coaching job of the Spurs. No, he's not. He's auditioning for a head coaching job in the NBA. This was a guy that was a finalist, if I'm not mistaken, for the Washington Wizards head coaching job.
Yeah, I bet you he's glad he didn't get it.
So I asked the question. In Mitch we trust, or do we have this exhaustive thing where we look at Mike Budenholzer, we look at Becky Hammond, we look at Steve Kerr, because Steve Kerr's going to want to get out at some point, right? Yeah, Steph's going to leave, and Kerr's going to leave.
I'm all in with Mitch, man.
I am too. But the thing I'm trying to point out though is that you have that phrase "bird in hand."
Yeah,
is worth what more than two in the bush, right? So it basically means that you already have a good candidate here. Because if you say that we're going to have this exhausting search, let's say that Mitch goes 41-41 for the season, right? Let's say he does that. And are you telling me that he's going to be okay with you guys with the Spurs doing a big due diligence search where they're going out and they're interviewing Steve Kerr and they're interviewing all these other coaches? Or do you think Mitch Johnson's going to be offended and be like, screw that, I'm going to go someplace else? Because he can. If Mitch Johnson's a hot commodity for the Spurs, that means he's a hot commodity for the Atlanta Hawks. It means he's a commodity for any other team that needs a head coach. Charlotte, New Orleans, wherever the case may be, Sacramento. He's not auditioning for the Spurs. He's auditioning for the NBA. He's already here. If the Spurs want to keep him, they have to take him, right? They have to say, hey, this is your team. Make it so. Make it so. The idea for me that we're going to go off and just, have this exhaustive search of a head coach and interview 10 people just doesn't make any sense to me.
We do have Jeff Garcia on the line here, so I'm going to have to go ahead and bring him on because he's only got about 10 minutes or so to lend us. So
we have Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. How you doing, my man?
Let me go ahead and bring him on. Oh, let's push the wrong button. Oh, there we are. Now I can do it. There we are.
Y'all hear me? We good?
We are good now. I got you on here, and we got to bring you on proper, man.
Ah, no. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're doing it. You're doing it.
Dollar. Talking to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. What's up? What up, brother?
Nothing but, hey, can I clear up something real fast?
Yeah.
Because yesterday I heard on the show Joe asking if me want to come at you on social media, if it's like vindictive or because the whole state thing. Let me clear up the ear real fast, everybody. No, it has nothing to do with that whatsoever. At all. Mike and I have been doing this for years, even before the stake. Okay, so this is nothing big, nothing vindictive.
I'm not coming. I think Jeff hates Mike.
No, I don't hate Jimenez. As a matter of fact, when that article came out, painted him out to be looking bad, he and I were on a conference call when it happened, and he and I were laughing behind the scenes. So let's clear up any misconception. I have no ill will towards Jimenez.
It was funny because you and I had just done our Locked On Spurs.
Taping. So, which is dropping in about an hour.
And to show that, by the way, it was one of our best ones.
Yes, yeah. So this show is going to be really good. We really had a back and forth. Mike pushed back on me. I pushed back on him. It's going to be a good one.
And I after the taping of Locked On Spurs, I thought to myself, I've been on that show 15, 20 times. And I was thinking to myself, this was a very cerebral, entertaining episode. And I like the fact that I coined the phrase there, Spurs Moneyball. I coined that phrase, but it was funny because it's one of those things where the eye test is now coming into, we now have stats behind the eye test. Yeah. And we really dove deep. It's a nerdy episode. It really is, but it's an entertaining, nerdy episode. We had just finished, just to prove that Jeff and I are really friends. After the taping, what do? Spend 10, 15, 20 minutes on Zoom.
Catch up.
Just chit-chatting. Yeah. How you doing? What are you doing this weekend? Yeah. Stuff like that. And then your jaw dropped. Like
you saw me on camera. Yeah, you saw me on camera.
I saw you go, oh my God. And I'm like, what? And you sent me the link, and we just started laughing our ass off. Like pounding the table, laughing. And it's so funny because I had people reach out to me yesterday on social media, kind of like DMing me, going, Michael, how do you take this? Like, you get bagged on all the time, and you laugh it off every single time. And the current is coming at you, not once, not twice, not three, not four times now they've come at me, right? And I just think it's funny. Michael Carlos, who's the author of the article yesterday, he has come out to our Alamo City Sportscast events. He was at our draft party, so he's not a bad guy. The Mike guy, he openly admitted, if you go on his timeline, why he did it. He flat out told you. He told the world why he posted that article about you. Oh, I didn't see.
Yeah, he just said free advertising. That's why he did it. Yeah.
It's
That's
so
exactly
funny.
why he did it.
It's so funny, but your jaw dropped. We had a great laugh over it. And you know, I was going back to that video, right? So the comment that I made was the Spurs stadium is supposedly going to cost $4 billion. And
you're going to triple down now.
And I thought it was inflated because I said that the Mexicans needed to build the said stadium, already live here in San Antonio, both the legal ones and illegal ones.
Rowdy style.
And I said it, and I smiled when I said it because it was tongue-in-cheek a joke, but let's not pretend like there's not 50,000 people in San Antonio who would vie for a job over there.
Oh man.
Well, you summed it up,
dude.
You summed it up pretty well when you said taking the page out of the Dan Le Batard when you're like, hey, if you don't know the joke, you don't know the show, whatever that phrase is.
Oh yeah, so Dan Le Batard,
yeah.
People would take things so seriously on the Dan Le Batard show, and they would play this clip where it would be the father, Poppy, going, "You don't get the show. You know, you don't get the show. You don't understand that what I say." For those of us who are new to this stream, we have 1,260 subscribers strong. For those of you who are new to the show, understand that there's a lot of gags that go on, tall tales that are actually true. We have these long jokes that have been going on for months and years at a time that you have to catch up on, right? So a lot of what I say is a callback to a joke that I made 2 months ago, that I made 4 or 6 months ago, that a lot of our listeners know that's how it is. And the funny thing is, Jeff and Joe, what happens whenever we have a meet and greet or some sort of event out and about, and I'm there? Everyone likes me. Everyone likes me. You know why? Because at the end of the day, I'm not a dick, man. I'm just
my God.
funny.
Well, I think what compounded it is when you doubled down. When you said like, "Oh, I got enough money in my W-2s to pay for the help," and you said that. I think that just pushed it too much.
The W-2s and 1099 is part of an ongoing saga that started a year ago. So it's an ongoing thing. I'm just throwing red meat at the animals.
They're asking, is Micah Mexican racist? Low key, man.
Okay, so a guy reached out to me yesterday, and he actually reached out to Jeff Garcia on his Twitter account, basically saying that I said bad things about Selena Quintanilla, and that I said that she wasn't all that. First of all, I never said that.
Oh, look, we got a $1.
Although I think Jimenez, I think you did one time. I think you said overrated or something like that.
No. I know exactly what I said.
Joe, do you have the receipts? Do you have the receipts, Joe?
I have a ton, man, but I don't got time to put all the video. I got to wait till the weekend and release it in like one just mass video. Just hear the hot takes.
That would Jimenez's takes will go viral.
All the hot ones, dude. There you go.
Here was the hot take I had about Selena Quintanilla.
Oh no, man!
She's great,
La Reina. No,
this is wonderful.
We're not doing
wonderful,
that, man. La
Reina. Jeff,
here comes another article.
All I said was I never said she was a bad singer. I never said that she was mid. I never said
no. I know you never said that, but you did say something like overrated or overplayed or something like that.
No, what I said was I am not convinced that she would have been an English superstar. That's all I said.
Why not? Her album said otherwise. Like when she released her English album, it was on the top of the charts.
Because she died.
No, because it was good.
Oh my God,
it was
really
because it was good.
The English song was not released until after she died.
It was good though. It was not bad.
No. But what I'm saying is, it's so hard to break into the English speaking music world.
You hate us Mexicans, bro. You can't love anything good that comes out of it, man.
Just because the Quintanilla family and Disney or whoever made the movie says that Selena was going to be an English superstar, that she was going to be the next Gloria Estefan or whatever the case may be.
I need an MCS mug, a Yeti mug, so I can throw it at Mike when he's bad mouthing the Reina, dude.
I just said.
So in some, you're saying Jimenez, she's only popular because she died.
Yeah.
No. She was huge. Dude, I worked a concert of hers back in the day at Lackland Air Force Base. So I knew she was huge, right?
Right on.
But what I'm saying is that the ongoing lore of Selena Quintanilla is she was going to be huge as an English singer. That she was going to be this next big thing in English, right? And I'm just saying, maybe that's possible, but the whole foregone conclusion that was going to happen, never bought into, because it's so difficult to do so, you know? And everyone's like, oh, well, she would have been like part of the Hispanic wave with Ricky Martin and all that, and all that stuff. I'm just saying, yeah, But her English album, was not released until after she died.
But I'm saying
And
it was a
that's
good
facts.
album. It was a good album, though. It wasn't.
Name-
it might have
name-
helped.
name-
but-
Why did you bring up about her dying? Like, I don't understand
Yeah.
that part.
Well, look, I gotta give some credit here to our boy here, Midtown Texas, because he's paying us right now. So he giving us $1.99 super chat, and he says he's here for the running jokes. And just because he paid the $1.99 super chat there, I'm also gonna go ahead and throw in something else here because Mike is gonna get the chanclazo.
Again, just because Abraham Quintanilla says that she was going to be an English superstar doesn't make it facts. It just makes it part of the lore. She could have been. I'm not saying that's inconceivable. I'm just not down with the whole. It was 100% certainty. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I'm still lost. Okay, hold on. I just want to make sure I'm hearing you clearly, Jimenez. You're saying the whole thing about her going to become a next pop star is not. You weren't buying it.
I wasn't buying it 100%. That's basically it. Because again,
Joe, I hope you're recording all this for the receipt.
It's all we're recording, dude. It's
All
all
right.
recording.
I mean, we'll never know. We'll never know the answer.
Mike is the Yolanda Salvador of San Antonio, dude. They call him el pinche mamón de San Antonio. Everything you can think of. He hates his own people. I'm like, you should just wear the shirt that says "Cancel Jimenez," dude.
Yolanda
done
Saldivar
with
going to be released from prison next year, isn't she?
You're gonna take her out to eat, bro? That's your bestie, bro. It's your bestie.
You know, my bestie is Mitch Johnson, new interim head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. He is now 5-5 in replacing Pop right now. Again, the interim.
Wait, Jimenez. I mean, I know you want to get to the game and all that stuff, and Mitch Johnson, but just what has been the fallout from that article for you? Like, have people come at you like rowdy style?
No, I think that it's been about 80% positive and 20% negative.
Well,
I think people are tired of cancel culture to begin with, and I
Yeah.
think that people realize that that there are running gags on this show, and there's running jokes on this show, and that there's certain personality traits that I have that are being embellished a little bit. But the fact of the matter is that I've actually had more people reach out to me who are positive about it, saying we're not going to cancel Jimenez because we're tired of that. I had people who are like, and the wokeness, then I have other people go, well, you're right. So I would say that it's about 80% positive, 20% people still piling on me.
Midtown Texas says Mike and Abraham Quintanilla Sr. go to the same church. I believe it.
But talking to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. So Jeff, I know we ask you the questions as a Spurs insider. You know, you speak to the Spurs, you go to most of their games, either as media or as a fan, all that stuff. But I want to talk to you as a Spurs fan, not as a Spurs journalist right now.
Mm-hmm.
Spurs fan right now, letter grade. I have this poll on Twitter, A, B, C, D, or F for Mitch Johnson, 5-5 after 10 games. What letter grade do you give him?
I'm giving him a B+.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm giving him a B+. Yeah.
Okay.
I so far so good. Look, let's not forget he's a rookie head coach. He's a rookie head coach, so he's going to make rookie mistakes. We've seen a couple of them, some really odd rotations, but he's cleaning it up fast. And I think what's lending it to his fast development is the players. They're buying in to their. At least that's what they're telling us. That it's very similar to what Pop is still, as if it's Pop is still there. And also, for me, I like his calm demeanor on the court. Sure, he gets into the refs. Yes, he chews their ear out, but he's always just calm and cool and collected. And I think that's what you need with a young team. Just be kind of even keel, right down the middle. And you see him get on players. I mean, Jimenez, you're at a game. You caught that a couple times. And I'm looking at him on the bench, and he's very interactive with them. Let's not forget he has a great support staff. You have Brett Brown. You have Matt Nielsen. You have young coaches that came up the ranks, like Kenny Trevino. So you put that all together, and I think the product, Mitch Johnson, is coming out pretty well. It's going to be interesting that if Pop decides to hang it up after his recent health scare, do the Spurs say, "Well, Mitch, it's all yours now," or do they see another quality head coach slip through their fingers, a la Will Hardy, Ime Udoka, Becky Hammond. The list goes on and on.
Because
But
again,
as of right now, I think if Pop decides to call it a day, it's his. I think it's his to lose at this point.
now I see we have a super chat. We'll get to it in a minute from the Drew Show. Drew, we'll get to you in a second on that one. Talking to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. Joe, give me a letter grade for Mitch Johnson.
Shit, I got to give the brother an A. I think he's doing a hell of a job. I haven't seen that much fire coming out of a coach here for the San Antonio Spurs in quite some time. Only, the shades of old Coach Pop when he used to get into Tony and all the other players back in the day when he was still the ripe old age of 50 plus,
Right.
But now in his latter years, he hasn't had that same fire and intensity. But I love what I'm seeing out of Mitch Johnson right now.
So I put that vote in for you right now. We are 66 votes in. We just put this poll out about an hour ago. 62% saying that Mitch Johnson gets a B.
Yeah.
23% giving him an A. So look at that. That is a combined 84% giving him an A or B. 14% giving him a C, and only 1% giving him a D or an F. Now, I asked the question, assuming Pop retires, 94 votes coming in. Do you want the Spurs to roll with Mitch Johnson or conduct an exhaustive search for a coach and basically interview people who are more experienced? 59% saying conduct the search, 41% saying in Mitch we trust. Here's the thing, Jeff and Joe. If somebody's watching him right now, there's another team watching Mitch Johnson right now.
Yeah.
And if we piss him away because we're going to go try to interview Steve Kerr. Okay, if you're Mitch Johnson and you lead this team to a 30-30 record or a 35-35 record in Pop's absence. And this is a team that only won 22 games in last season and the season before,
and had only won 7 games through the month of January.
Yeah, last year. It took till January to get your 7th win. If that is the case, and the Spurs say, well, you know what, Mitch, thank you so much for that. We're going to go interview Steve Kerr now. We're going to go interview Budenholzer. We're going to go interview somebody else. Why would he want to coach this team? Why would he? That would be insulting. And there's going to be another team that's going to line up and go, dude, he was able to do that with that collection of players. Come to us. Now, Jeff, you did mention something, Jeff, and I want to kind of touch on this a little bit.
Right.
Again, I'm trying not to do a Pop bashing episode, but I will say this though: if you look at the Mount Rushmore of head coaches, Pop is on the Mount Rushmore along with Pat Riley, along with Phil Jackson, and Red Auerbach, right? Those are probably the 4 greatest coaches of all time, and Spoelstra somewhere in there in the mix as well. Name one of those guys that conducted a rebuild. I don't remember Phil Jackson doing a rebuild. I don't remember Greg Popovich doing a rebuild. I don't remember Pat Riley doing a rebuild. There are certain coaches that are good for the big ego superstar players. And there's other coaches out there that are like the Larry Brown mold, the Eric Spoelstra mold, that are really good at getting to the young minds and getting the most out of young players. That's the point I'm trying to make, because I think Mitch Johnson is in that mold right now where he can actually be better for a rebuild. That doesn't say he's a better coach than Pop. He's better for a rebuild.
Well, he said it himself on a recent post-game or pre-game. But the point is, he spoke to media about it, saying that as a younger coach, he connects better with the players.
Yeah, well, he
does.
He's
flat out said it. Yeah,
he's around.
He's about their age. Yeah, so I think that's going to bode well if they decide to keep with him moving forward.
Hey, Jeff, I know we're coming up against it because we're already over the time allotted. But
that's right. We got about 2-3 more minutes.
Okay, well, let me ask you this about CP3. CP3 seems to be more in tune with Mitch Johnson than he was with Pop. Do you see that as well, or are my eyes deceiving me?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry, I lost you there.
That CP3 seems to be a little bit more in tune with what Mitch Johnson's doing than when he was kind of interacting with Pop.
For me, that's TBA. I mean, to be determined. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know yet, because I thought he was jiving well with Pop when Pop was on the sidelines.
Jeff, I got to ask you a question before you leave. This is probably going to be one of the last ones. What do you think of Charles Bassey, man? Do you think Charles Bassey has done enough and shown the coaching staff enough, especially during this game against OKC, where he's going to be given more minutes, maybe even so much so that they can go ahead and just say, you know what, we're going to go ahead and have Collins as that third option and give it to Bassey. I mean, the kid, I love the style of play. He plays with energy, intensity, and heart, man. No fear. Give him Zach Collins minutes like now. That's my opinion.
I think right now we're just being a prisoner of the moment because he had that pretty good game. Let's see how he looks like moving forward, and then we'll make a decision. But he's a lot more athletic. Definitely a rim runner, all that good stuff. But neither of them can spread the floor. If you're gonna pick your poison, you're still leaning Collins. At least Collins can maybe spread the floor a little bit. I don't know if Bassey's proven that yet, but right now I think it's way too early to decide.
Now we have a Locked On Spurs episode that's going to drop in the next hour or so.
Yeah,
which
is really good, by the way.
What did you like about the episode, and give us a bit of a preview?
You know what I liked about it is I rarely do a numbers dive on Locked On Spurs, and this is one of the rare times we do a numbers dive and bring out some really solid numbers from the units out there on the court that are just pretty good, doing it on the defensive rating side and the offensive rating side.
Mm-hmm.
And then one thing I liked, Jimenez, that we found a unit that is sneakily right behind that top unit right now that could overtake them. But the other interesting stuff too is maybe not all the heavy hitters should be together on the court. And that was another one we tackled on there, but it's a really good one though. I like it though.
Very cool.
I also like the ending where you just went off on your tall tales.
So one of the tall tale.
We gave Jimenez a tall tale segment to close out Locked On Spurs today.
So I saw somebody ask on our YouTube stream, did I do any point guard moves yesterday while officiating a varsity basketball game? So I officiated a varsity basketball game between San Marcos against Reagan High School girls varsity yesterday. Went down to the final minute. Reagan won by 3. I didn't do it to the player, but during a timeout, I was holding the ball during a timeout because I was going to administer the inbounds, right?
Here we go.
And I did the move on my hand again, and I mocked it like I was going to do it. But then when the player came to inbound the ball, I didn't do it. I just did it regular.
Man, if I was playing against you back in the day, I would have broke your ankles, nutmegged your ass. I would have went and just bodied you in the paint, bro, and just looked down at you. I'd be like, what? Get up.
Oh, yes. And then they get arrested.
No, I don't give a damn.
You don't give a damn about getting arrested?
Because when we used to play on the court, we play for money, bro.
Oh, you talk about just like in real life, just play?
No.
Oh, real? You talking about be officiated?
We would hustle.
Oh,
no,
I thought you meant a player doing that to me on a.
No, I would do that to you if I was playing against you.
Oh, well, there's. West side, south side, and north side rules are all different when it comes to playing ball. Yeah. I know that when I would play it just for feet on Evers Road back in the day, compared to Joe Ward, compared to Five Palms, compared to Rosedale Park and all that stuff, I knew the rules were different. I knew there was no
blood, no foul.
There was no
Mike.
offensive foul.
Blood, no foul.
Dude, I'm a veteran of all that stuff, dude. I'm a veteran of all that. Jeff, thanks for being on today, my man. Again, Locked On Spurs later on today. What do you got going on Kens5.com?
Yeah, well, we just put up the post-game summary to start off today. And then up next is going to be something interesting about Castle. Did you know that right now he's searching for a nickname for him and Wemby on the court together? So we're going to be talking about that, and then his thoughts on Chris Paul. Then the big episode of Locked On Spurs early this afternoon. And then catching up with some other news and notes that Spurs fans may have missed, such as the Spurs giving back to the community for the holiday season. And did you know Chris Paul has a not new, but it's new for San Antonio. Tortilla chips. I found that out yesterday. Yeah, new tortilla chips, new in San Antonio. They're not new overall. They're just new in San Antonio. So we're going to be revealing some of that and so much more. Yeah, we got a lot on today. Whether Locked On Spurs, Kens5.com/Spurs. Jimenez, stay out of trouble, man. No more articles.
I'm going to try.
No more articles.
Hey, maybe you can pencil me in for a weekend episode of Locked On Spurs, man.
You want to shoot for Sunday then?
Yeah, get me on Sunday, bro. Or I'm available after 9, but I know it's kind of late for you because you're already trying to wind down for the evening, man. Because you've done a lot. I know.
Yeah. I hold it down for the entire Kens5 digital side. I had 2. There was me and some other guy. Remember Tom Petrini?
Yeah.
Me and him, we held it down for Kens last season, but he's off to the bigger and better things. So it's now all me.
Yeah, at least you're
So-
putting out legitimate content out there, that's hard-nosed and it's great stuff. It's not like some of the other stuff we're seeing from people posting things and their interns are getting the screenshots from shady sites. So
look at Joe just lobbing missiles at a certain direction.
you want legitimate content, go with Jeff.
I understand it, man. I understand what you're talking about. But yeah, and then of course we're recording Locked On Spurs later today with Casey Vieira. So, and then are y'all getting ready for tomorrow's big day?
What is it, man?
We the San Antonio City hearings about the Project Marvel is going to be starting tomorrow.
$4 billion.
Don't get started.
The debate starts tomorrow, and what's going to be interesting too is that we're going to see exactly what the Spurs have in mind. They have to reveal what they have in mind. Who's going to be paying for it? Where it's going to be located? The dimensions, the size, all that stuff. The district they want to create. So I think Spurs fans really should be paying attention to city council tomorrow because it's going to be very interesting. I mean, it's all over the news. Ken's 5 other local outlets are talking about it, so it's big.
Will you be there?
No. I'm not going to be there. I have my day job to worry about, so I got to take care of that.
You should get an intern, man, so they can go ahead and be out there for you.
It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. I'll send Joe out there. But Joe, go handle it.
No, man. Maybe we give a chance to Sith or somebody, man. Go out there, do your thing, bro.
Right? Yeah, Sith can do it, or Leha can do it. But yeah, so I'm definitely interested in that tomorrow because, like I said, the Spurs, they can't be all secret, hush hush over. I always wonder that, like, why they're always secret over every little thing, man. Like everything has to be a secret, but like. We're going to find out tomorrow exactly what Project Marvel entails, guys.
Very nice.
Yeah,
That's
right,
Jeff
man.
Garcia. Again, follow him wherever you get podcasts, whether it be Spotify, whether it be Apple Play, or whatever
YouTube.
you do at YouTube. Go find him.
But by the way, Jimenez, did you catch that one reaction to that article? Somebody posted on social media like, this article has everything.
Oh.
It has Jimenez. It has Jeff.
It has
Sid. It has Leha. It has everybody.
My favorite was it has the pores. Yeah, it was a it was a Stefan from Saturday Night Live.
No,
the Bill
God.
Hader character. This has everything. It was great.
Yeah. That one was my favorite one. This has everything. It was like all the players when it comes to cooking Jimenez, everybody was in that one article.
We need to do a roundtable discussion for the Locked On Spurs, Jeff, at least once a month where we can get the gente on, man.
That's hard to do because everybody's scheduled. And I get to the point where I'm like, you know what? Here's the date. If you can make it, great. If you can't, you can't. But don't say I didn't invite you, kind of thing.
Okay, here's the if you want to go to my screen, I have the Stefan take right here. It says this article has everything. Mexicans, pores.
That's it.
Jeff Garcia, Mike's son, Sith Lord Elias.
God, that was my favorite one. That was like it was like a collision of universes colliding in one spot.
Jeez, bro.
All right, guys, I got to go record Locked On with Casey, man, but I appreciate it.
All right,
man,
Jeff, thanks.
Care. So we have a $5.47 super chat coming on in from the Drew Show.
Yeah.
Now this is a throwback. Before we read this, earlier in the show, I was talking to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs, and they were asking me about like the hate that I have for Selena Quintanilla, the supposed hate that I have. And I never said that she was mid. I never said that she was bad. She was obviously a very talented performer. She won Grammys. She won a ton of awards, millions of fans all over Latin America, United States, and whatnot, right? So I never claimed her to be bad, right? But the one thing I did say was that I never truly 100% believed that she would have been an English superstar, okay? Again, the crossover was in process when she died, and after she died, they released that song, Dreaming of You, which is a very good song. I like Dreaming of You. It's a good song. But she never got that crossover opportunity, right? Alive, right? So I've always said, well, I don't know if she'll be a superstar, but that's part of the Selena lore, right? Super chat coming on in from the Drew Show. Saying, quote, if Mike was around February 4th, 1959, he would say, La Bamba was a mid, and so was Donna. In 50 years, they'll be making movies about the Big Bopper.
Jeez.
Very nice. Thank you for the support, Drew.
Yeah, thanks, Drew.
First of all, Richie Valens, Ricardo Valenzuela, was a star when he was alive, right? So that was a big 7-month period, I believe, that he was a pop star, and those songs live on forever. Although most people think that they're listening to Richie Valens, half the time they listen to Los Lobos, because Los Lobos remade the song for the movie La Bamba. And I will say this: La Bamba is being remade, and I'm never going to watch the remake, Joe. Never going to watch it, because La Bamba, the original movie, La Bamba, Lou Diamond Phillips, Esai Morales, back in the mid 1980s, that is a perfect movie. That is an A+ with 9 pluses behind it. La Bamba original, that movie, perfect. Perfect, Joe. Nothing wrong with that movie at all. And I remember back in the day, people get all mad because Lou Diamond Phillips is not Mexican-American. And they're like, well, we should have a Mexican. I don't care, right? He's Native American. I don't care. He did a great job with that. And Esai Morales, the career that he's had now, he was on Ozark a few years ago. He's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Love that movie. The day the music died, when the Big Bopper, Buddy Holly, and Richie Valens all passed away.
Yeah, man. Some of the chat coming in here, they're thinking of names for like Wemby and Castle, and they put No Fly Zone. This is Area 51. I like that. Put that on the shirt, man. I might have to make.
You know what? Area 51 just by itself, or Joe, Area 210.
I already have that right here.
Area 210.
Area 210, right behind me.
You know what, Joe? You might have to lease that out.
No, that stays with me. They want it. They got to pay for it.
That's what I'm saying. Lease it out, baby.
They want it. They got to pay for it. But yeah, man, I'd be interested in doing that. Contact me, Spurs. But we had a lot of good things coming out, man. And, I'm going to go ahead and show something here in a little bit, too, because one of our friends of the show made something that I thought was hilarious, because you were talking over here about Selena, and kind of we're playing around with you, saying that you're very Yolanda Salvadorish. So Sith, he's on it, man.
Look at this photograph.
There's Mike and your bestie, Yolanda, dude. You can go pick her up when she gets out of prison.
Yeah, she's due for parole on March 30th, 2025. She's going to get released. 30 years, dude. That's the 30th anniversary of her being jailed. She's going to get released. It's one of those things where people who commit murders aren't there for 50, 60, 70 years anymore. They get released after 20 or 30. She's done her time. And I'm not saying that it's right to let her go. I'm just saying that when you look at other people who've been let go, it's going to be her time.
Yeah.
And I don't know where she's going to go. She can't go anywhere in Texas, that's for sure. Where's she going to go? She's going to go witness protection program?
Can't, man.
I don't know. She's going to see the light of day. People are going to get pissed.
That Area 210, No Fly Zone. They're coming up with some good stuff, man. They're bringing the heat today in the chat, man. Mike Sancha Yolanda. He's got her on the clock.
I wonder if she's going to be able to make money off of her story. Because, she's going to make money. Dude. Well, like O.J. Simpson was not allowed to make money off of the story as well. When he was found guilty from a civil suit, right? He was found criminally not guilty, but on the civil side was found guilty. He was not able to make money off of that. I wonder if that's going to be the case with Selena Quintanilha's killer, Yolanda Saldivar.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's go ahead and give Jeff some love, man. Since we just had him on the show, let's go ahead and play his ad. Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow, not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
That's right. Spurs had 7 players in double figures yesterday, Joe.
That's a lot, man. That means that it was a complete team effort because you needed to have that in order to beat this Oklahoma City Thunder team, especially with Shai out there doing his thing because they knew they weren't going to stop him. And he still made his points, He got hot. He went on a streak right there. But the Spurs did play really tough-nosed defense, man. They were getting into it, played with a lot of energy. They matched OKC's energy and out-hustled them. And that's what I'd love to see.
Joe, if you can show my screen courtesy of TNT, can we talk about this Keldon Johnson dunk?
Sure.
Dude, the crowd, the TNT crew lost it. And what I like about it is you see Wemby kind of get up, get all excited. Sohan right behind him. Keldon Johnson putting Jalen Williams on skates.
That's a poster, man.
Fell to the ground. Boom, poster. Keldon Johnson with a huge first half. This might be the dunk of the year so far for the Spurs.
Yeah. You know what we're going to do at the end of the year here? We're going to have an awards kind of type of show where we're going to have I'll make little trophies, right? Or I'll have them on screen somehow, even if it's virtual. And we'll go ahead and hand out most improved player, best dunk, We'll have some stuff, man.
This might be
fun.
best dunk so far. Keldon Johnson, man. It's hard to love Keldon Johnson. Keldon Johnson, 82-game season. Half of them will be decent. Half of them will suck ass. Last night, he was 6 for 12 from 3, 22 points off the bench. You saw Harrison Barnes with 20, 3 for 7 from 3. Chris Paul knocked down 4 of 7 from 3 at 14 points. You take a look at Stephon Castle. Another game double figures, right? He got it down the stretch. He was only 3 for 13 shooting. But his vision yesterday, Joe, Castle's basketball IQ is so good that if his shooting percentage gets higher,
kid's special, man.
The kid will be very, very special.
He's a good two-way player, man. I didn't think the kid was going to be this good this soon. He's going to be, I think, a star in the making here.
He was playing point 40% of the time yesterday,
dude. And that block that he had on Shai at the end, near the end. Of the game,
towards the end of the game, yeah,
bro,
dude, on transition. Got him underneath the basket, just swallowed him up. Castle also, if you notice down the stretch, Caruso was guarding him. Caruso, one of the best defenders out there. Castle, they're like, he's got to be careful with the ball, careful with the ball. Dude, he's fine. He's fine. And he wasn't getting those silly turnovers down the stretch. He wasn't making shots.
He was closing out. He was closing out the game.
The 3 he made in the fourth quarter. So the 2 big 3-pointers were Castle's 3-pointer and Zach Collins' 3. Last 4 minutes of the game. When you saw that last one go in for Castle, he didn't celebrate. He looked relieved. He was like, "Oh my God, it finally went in." Yeah. That was the look that he gave because you can tell how disappointed he was in himself for a 3 of 13 shooting. He had missed the first 6 3-point attempts. The 7th one went in. 10 points, 8 assists. Dude, when you have 8 assists from Castle and 11 from CP3, I got to ask you this question, Joe, because this dovetails off of Locked On Spurs. Stephon Castle should be starting the rest of the way.
That's the thing.
The question becomes, well, then who do they bench? Are you going to bench CP3? No. Right? Because you kind of need to have that backcourt there, right? Are they going to bench Wemby? No. Are they going to bench Harrison Barnes? No. Are they going to bench Champagnie? Joe, is it just me? Or maybe Stephon Castle needs to start over both Sohan and Devin Vassell. Devin Vassell, who is the highest paid Spur, and Jeremy Sohan, who's a fan favorite, and was leading the team in points per game before he went down with an injury. I look at Castle and I think to myself, he's more important than Vassell. He's more important than Sohan.
You have 2 different contrasts right here. Wilmo, thank you so much for your chat. We do appreciate you. He put, got to bench Devin. And then Midtown Texas says, bench Champagnie.
Dude, Jeff and I were talking about this on Locked On Spurs. Julian Champagnie, I was wrong. I have a hard time sometimes, Joe, taking an L. But there's some L's that I'm proud of. The L that I'm having is that I didn't think Julian Champagnie was an NBA player. What do we call him? Cardio. Because for a good stretch the last couple of seasons, he looked lost. He would have stretches of 3 or 4 weeks where he looked pretty good. But there were some times when he just wasn't finding himself. Pop over the offseason was talking about Champagnie, how he thought that Champagnie had improved himself.
Yeah.
And that Champagnie was getting better and better. Champagnie, an undrafted guy from St. John's. I believe he played for the Sixers for a while, then came to the Spurs. If you want to talk about somebody who's being relatively consistent for the Spurs, that's Champagnie. I'm looking at Champagnie's splits right now. Here are the last, 8 games for Champagnie. Points per game. 21, 13, 14, 5, 13, 12, 10, 13, 12. That is double figures in 8 of the last 9 games, Joe. He's now averaging 11 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, which again, it's fine. 44% from the field. The 3-point shooting getting is pretty decent. I mean, you got to say that he's earned his spot. And on top of that, he's playing pretty decent defense. 36.5% from 3. What do we say about it? We talk about this on Locked On Spurs. It is Spurs Moneyball. Spurs Moneyball suggests that the best lineup for the Spurs right now for a starting 5, and this is not just Michael's opinion. This is not, the eye test. This is mathematic fact as of right now. It is CP3 and Castle. It is Barnes and Champagnie, and it is Wemby. And the 2 names you don't see, for those of you who say that I'm a Sohan hater, you don't see Jeremy Sohan, you don't see Devin Vassell.
Yeah, but Matt Lerma is pointing out something really important here. He goes, what's this? We shit. He goes, you called him cardio with your full chest. And
Did I not say that? I said I was wrong. No, not a flip-flop.
Flip-flop.
That's not a flip-flop. That's admitting I was wrong. That's a difference. Flip-flop is I'm taking the different side. You should mark this down, Joe. I'm saying I was wrong.
What is it that meme? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And you said CP3 was an indication that the Spurs were punting this season.
And they were.
And he looks
I still stand
really
by it.
good. He looks good, though.
I stand by it, Joe. That's not a flip-flop. I stand by
it.
But what did I say, Joe? I said this, Joe, and you and I both know this because you and I have a lot of tape on this. I said it was a punt on this season because that means they weren't going for a Markkanen. That means they weren't going for Trae Young, right? It was a punt on this season. But what did I say, Joe? I said that I understood what the Spurs were doing. The Spurs were doing a developmental year, and that they brought in CP3 to coach up Castle
and
the way
Barnes.
And that Barnes was going to be there to coach up the front court, and that CP3 was being brought in to coach Castle the same way that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was coached by him 3 years ago.
I got a new catchphrase for you. I'm Mike Jimenez, and when I'm wrong, I'm always right.
Well, Joe, we had this talk, Joe.
I remember this talk.
It was a punt on we're going to go and try to make the playoffs.
Oh my goodness.
But it was a sensible developmental decision to be made, and therefore I was kind of like, okay, I guess I'm down. That's not a flip-flop, Joe. This is exactly what I said. Joe, the punt was we weren't going to get a big-name player. Did we get a big-name player? No, we didn't.
No, they did not get a big name.
A big-name player in the prime. Yeah, did we get that?
They're not going to get that, and I don't think they're going to get that. Even before the season ends, they're going to make a trade or what have you. All the scenarios that Spurs fans like to throw out there, they're not going to do nothing.
Angel coming out and said, Mike, the couch GM Jimenez. We all are couch GMs. But here's the thing about it, Joe. Why is it that every time I talk up a certain player on a draft, Joe, last 5 years, I got plenty of tape on it, I'm right? Remember when they went after Primo? And I was like, they should go after that Şengün guy.
Yeah.
Remember
Şengün?
Remember? I was like, for months before the draft.
Primo was
like, hey,
dude.
I was like, months before the draft, even Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs, the Ken's 5 admits, he goes, dude, you're like the first person to point out in December and January of last year, earlier this year, that kid from UConn, Stephon Castle, Spurs should go get that guy.
He's a bucket getter, man.
That guy. This is before a lot of people were talking about it. I was like, that's Stephon Castle. San Antonio Sports Star, me and James Pledger, Saturday Morning Hangover.
Yeah,
We hyped up Devin Vassell. That was our guy.
And look it, we got a $1.99 super chat incoming, man. Thank you so much, Tex-Mex Frank.
He paid for it. He wants a Spurs Grito win.
He says, Spurs win, Grito.
Yeah,
enjoying the show. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that, man. So we got to go ahead and give you what you paid for. Let me go ahead and get that video up.
Presumir a mis amigos les conté.
Hey man,
Gotta let it play out, man. You gotta let it play out all the way through.
You know what? It's deserving. It is deserving. By the way, FanDuel updated its Rookie of the Year odds, and right now they have Jared McCain of the 76ers. McCain, I believe he played for Duke. Was drafted number 14 overall at plus 160. Dalton Connect of the Lakers at plus 250, the number 1 overall pick. Zachary Reese-Shea is 10-1 with the third best odds. Carlton Carrington, 11-1 odds. Zach Edey, who was the favorite before the season started, with the fifth best odds at 15-1. And then he has Stephon Castle with the sixth best odds at 20-1, which means that he's on track to be the on track to being a rookie first team or second team. I think he'll be a first team guy.
Yeah,
when it's all said and done. Joe, the Spurs right now are surprising. They've got Utah next. They've played Utah twice already. They beat them one time handily. The second time they should have won, lost by 1 point.
Yeah, Utah beat them on their home court.
Utah coming on. If they're playing Utah, they're going to get that win. They're going to be back at 500 all over again. Who would have thought after 16 games, the Spurs being 8-8? But that's what it's looking like, Joe. And there's so many good and positive things about this team so far that, we can all take joy in. First and foremost, CP3 has been healthy. This is the guy that misses 20, 25 games each and every year. The dude hasn't missed one yet that I know of.
He might be missing some time here because it looked like he dislocated his
thumb.
But kudos to him because I've done that before when I played basketball. I dislocated my index finger, this one right here. I came up for a rebound and went for the rebound and the ball hit my finger and I thought I had just like jammed it.
Yeah.
So when I went down to pop it, it was pointing in the opposite direction. I just went boom, popped it back out. All you do is
pop it.
I had some tape in my gym bag, so I just went ahead and taped my fingers together and I finished my game. I mean, there's not much you can do.
People were talking about McCain going to Duke. That's right. Connect went off for 37 points yesterday. He did go off yesterday. Sam Selena was bringing that up yesterday. CP3 has been playing good. Let's say that he did that he missed his time, Joe. Who do you want starting at point guard? Stephon Castle or Trey Jones?
No, man, you got to go ahead and start the kid, man. Stephon Castle is the truth, man. Trey Jones, even in that backup role that he has now, coming off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And what did he do yesterday? He had 3 minutes. He played, 3 points and played 17 minutes. I mean, he's still not all back 100%. He's still coming back, from injury and whatnot. He's all right, but even on that second unit, who's going to be the point guard? I mean, they're going to put him in there, but he's just that. He's all right, but you give the team the best chance at winning with Stephon Castle in the lineup.
I'm trying to figure out Castle's makeup as far as like what player does he remind me of?
Nephew?
In a way, it's funny because I don't have an answer yet.
Yeah, he's going to be his own player. I think he's going to have his own unique style of play. Kid's athletic. He got some hops. He gets after it on the defensive end. Like I said, high basketball IQ, can create his own shot. There's a lot of things to like about this kid, man. And I mean, he needs to be in that starting lineup, man.
So I see. I'm looking at the draft projections of these players. This was before the season started, And Bleacher Report had him as a comparison to RJ Barrett. And then you have others saying Andre Iguodala. Others are saying maybe mini Kawhi. He's 6'6.5", right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure this out. Sith coming out and saying Derrick Rose. So not a bad comparison. A pre-injury Derrick Rose. Joe, I'm watching him play. Do you know who my favorite player was growing up?
Who?
That my favorite non-Spur player growing up.
Who was it?
Is who he reminds me of. But it's weird because I'm going to say a name and you might look at it a little bit weird because there's a height difference. It's 4 inches.
Okay.
Castle's 4 inches taller than what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking John Morant. I'm not thinking SGA, even though the SGA DNA is there because SGA was coached by Chris Paul. When I see Stephon Castle play, I don't know why I have images of Kevin Johnson.
Kevin Johnson,
point guard of the
from
Phoenix
the
Suns back in the
dude.
day. 3-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA player.
Hall of Very Good.
Hall of Very Good. I see him as being a better version of Kevin Johnson. There's just something about the vision, the way that the way that he gets into the lane, the way that he picks pockets. I'm not saying that it's 100% identical, but what I'm saying is that sometimes I see him play and I'm going, my God, he reminds me of KJ. And I don't know if that's a good comparison or not. And if you want to say that's a bad one, I won't disagree with you. But for some reason, my mind goes to Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson was not a bad player.
He wasn't.
Like he was a good floor general back in the day. I don't know, man. There's got to be a Venn diagram where he's 20% this guy, 20% this guy, 50% this guy.
Then after what? Keldon Johnson, who did they have? Stephon Marbury. Starbury.
Yeah. Starbury was more flash.
Yeah.
KJ also back in the day was very to himself. He could get the dunk and all that stuff, but was very kind of just,
just hard nosed. It kind of reminded me of the demeanor of like Avery Johnson, where they wouldn't celebrate. They would just go out there and be the worker bee.
Yeah. And there's a lot of Tim Duncan DNA in Stephon Castle in the sense that, they don't wear their emotions on their sleeve too much. Right. I don't know.
Look at that. Castle is 6'6".
No.
Mike,
and I preface that. I preface that. Kevin Johnson was 6'2", and Stephon Castle 6'6.5". But what I'm saying is that the court vision appears to be the same. And if you're going to say that his court vision's Kevin Johnson, that is not an insult. What did I say? He could be a better Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson was a 3-time All-Star. If we get 3 All-Star games from Stephon Castle, would we take it?
The confidence of BJ Armstrong.
Tim Gonzalez saying he and Barkley were my favorite players. JHNSB saying, who is Kevin Johnson? That must be a young viewer. Fortunately, you have YouTube. Go on to YouTube. You know what? I'm gonna YouTube it myself. I'm gonna. You know what? Let's YouTube this real fast.
Didn't they that's when Kevin Johnson had Thunder Dan Marley. Remember they
Thunder Dan.
Thunder Dan Marley, dude.
Okay, let's call some Kevin Johnson highlights here, right?
All right, let's check them out.
Let's see here. Well, here's one of the most famous plays, courtesy of NBC Sports.
Oh God. Mute it. Just mute it.
How do I mute this?
To the left, Mike. To the left.
We have to get through this. Is that the Brooks brothers?
I don't know. Let me know when the video plays because then I'll get dinged by YouTube
okay,
for showing
here
this stupid commercial.
This is the '94 playoffs of the finals, and Kevin Johnson dunking on. That's Kevin Johnson for 3. Here's the dunk on Olajuwon. Dude,
remember when John Starks did that?
Dude,
remember when John Starks did that dunk?
They're going to show a replay here. This is KJ on the drive.
Oh.
Dude, I know there's a height difference, right? But there's just something about Stephon Castle, when I look at him going, he has the same mentality and IQ as KJ. And KJ was my favorite player growing up. Am I wrong?
No, you know who I like though.
He was a
up?
3-time All-Star.
You know who I like growing up though? I used to like Drazen Petrovic, and I liked Sarunas Marciulionis, dude. I mean, he was from Russia, man, but the brother could ball.
Let's just do more highlights real fast. The 95 finals. KJ, okay, you know what? I'm going to rewind that one. Look at him get to the lane. Tell me this doesn't look a little bit like Castle. Just getting into the lane, getting
like
his spots.
Smoothness?
Just
smooth it was?
There's just something about, I don't know, man. I don't know.
He's giving you KJ vibes.
I think everybody wants to see everyone wants to see like these superstar names, and maybe he will be a superstar, right? But dude, look at that dunk, dude. Go back. Remember this dunk right here?
Oh, yeah.
Over Ewing. Dude, calling Castle a better version of KJ is not disrespectful at all, because if you were there for Kevin Johnson in the 90s, you knew that he was a good player, man. He was a very, very, very good player. I see a lot of Castle in this guy, man. Now, KJ was only 6'2",
yeah,
but he wasn't afraid. He wasn't afraid of the moment. He wasn't afraid of contact.
Yeah. I'm going to show you guys something. You tell me what you think, man, because I'm working on some concept, right, for Stephon Castle. Something different, man.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm working on is this. It's a harken back to Malibu Castle.
Nice.
You know, and it's using kind of the same style of font. So let me know what y'all think. It's still a work in progress. It's something I've just been playing with, man. I want to put it on a shirt.
So we have Tony Ronaldo saying that Kevin Johnson did not play defense. What Kevin Johnson were you watching? KJ was actually pretty decent defender. He wasn't elite, but he was pretty good.
Dark Gayons. Too cheap for premium, I see. I ain't paying for premium YouTube, bro. F that, man.
It's funny. People are saying that I'm disrespecting Castle by saying Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson was a 3-time All-Star. He was a 3-time All-Star, Joe. He was a 4-time All-NBA player.
Oh, look at him. Maybe Gary Payton.
That's a good comparison as well. I don't think the passing is as good as Gary Payton as of yet. Gary Payton is one of the best passers of all time, man. That guy could find you. He was also a trash talker, so I don't see that comparison that way. I don't see it.
Mike is the Oliver Miller podcast.
Well, maybe 25 pounds ago.
Oh, Oliver Miller, dude. Oh, remember, Joe, we called Castle Yeet. I love it when they bring in the wrestling references, man. If you know, you know.
Man, dude, people got pissed off when I said that. He reminds me a little bit. I didn't say 100%. What did I say? I said flashes of him, dude. Flashes of him. Okay, I'm going to go over KJ's stats here. Who, by the way, he was the mayor of Sacramento, California, by the way, for those of you who didn't know.
Yeah, he is. He's a politician now.
KJ was the 7th overall pick in the 87 draft. So he was also a lottery player, right? 3-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA second team, most improved player in 1989. For his career, averaged 18 points, 9 assists, and 1.5 steals. How is this disrespectful, Joe? If you told me that Stephon Castle was going to have Kevin Johnson's career, I would take it in a heartbeat. Now, the thing is that there are a lot of Spurs fans who think that Castle could be a superstar, and I'm not saying that that's not the case. I think there's a possibility because he's doing this at 19, Joe. So if you're going to say, Michael, hold up, he might be a superstar, he might be more Gary Payton than KJ, I'm not saying that that's not true. But what I am saying, Joe, is to me, Joe, the 3 most important players on the Spurs right now, number 1 is who? Wemby. Number 2 is Stephon Castle. Joe, number 3. Give me the chancla.
Oh, no, man. Again?
Yeah. 15 games in, the most important player on the Spurs team is Champagny.
Jeez, bro.
Cardio himself.
Cardio.
Now, maybe he goes back to being cardio.
We tried telling you though,
But 15 games in, well, he has shown flashes in the past.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that he didn't.
like even in preseason, you kind of started seeing something out of the kid. It's like, hey man, he's playing.
But it was
better.
one of those things. Was like, I want to see that in the regular season.
Yeah, I get that. And then you saw a couple games in the regular season, you still weren't convinced. But now that you're almost 20 games in, you're like, all right, Castle.
Okay,
I think Castle Champagny.
I like this comment right here from the Drew Show. This is a perfect comment. Saying Kevin Johnson was one of those players who fell off a cliff, elite 1 year, then averaged the rest. The physical size and physical style took a toll.
It did.
But here's the thing. What's the difference? The difference is that Castle is 6'6.5", whereas KJ was 6'2". So you are 100% correct in a lot of that. Although it wasn't elite 1 year, he was elite for a few years.
Somebody had put a comparison to Castle. They said maybe Ron Harper from back in the day.
Now that's an insult.
It was Gert. Gert was saying that.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an insult.
Ron Harper.
But dude, if you are a second team All NBA player for 4 years in a row, or 4 out of 5 years, that means you were the second best point guard in the entire NBA for 4 years, in a time when there was Joe Dumars, Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson, in a time when there was all these guys. And you're telling me that it's disrespectful to say that I'm comparing him to a guy who was the second best point guard in the league 4 years of his career. Oh, so disrespectful. Who's the second best point guard in the league right now? Kyrie Irving, right?
Kyrie still got handles,
right,
man.
right. If I would say Kyrie, would that be disrespectful? This is disrespectful because I said somebody who hadn't been in his prime for 30 years, right? I know you can say John Morant, but I don't see John Morant in him. I know you can say SGA, but I don't see SGA either. I mean, I see shades of them. I don't have that one player that I see Castle playing like just yet.
I think Castle's going to develop into one of these players on the Spurs roster where his shot is going to be so good that he's going to be money. He's going to be one of those guys that you're going to count on in crunch time to help you win these games.
He's not afraid to shoot the ball.
He's not. He's very poised.
Even after the miss against the Lakers, that could have tied the game. Minute to go in the game the other day.
Chris Paul had something to say. Jeff was sharing that with me after the game yesterday. He was saying that he was been impressed with Stephon Castle and his demeanor, like his poise out there on the court. He said even though he's 20, he says he has the demeanor of like a 30-year-old man out there, and he said he's very impressed with it.
JHNSB saying Castle's Drew Holiday. That was one of the original takes earlier before the season started, and that's not a bad insult either. I mean, Drew Holiday is a defensive-minded point guard, right? But Castle said before the season started that he wanted to play point, that he was not going to come out here to be the shooting guard. He wasn't going to be the sixth man. He wanted to play the point. And because of injuries to Vassell and Sohan, he has been put into the starting lineup. And analytically, him being out there is a good thing.
Look at Midtown Texas. Mitch Johnson is Paul Westphal.
Well, I mean, had a good career, right? I mean, what is that a bad thing? You know, Paul Westphal. Yeah, I'm not saying that he was the greatest coach of all time, but you know, he had a big career. He had a big career. You know, it's impressive what the Spurs did last night. Not only doing it, winning 110-104, but doing it on national television. 7 players in double figures. We saw big minutes from Zach Collins, 5 of 7 shooting, Joe. I mean, we bitch and complain about him, but we got to give him his flowers when he does well. It was beyond that 3-pointer. He had 12 points. Champagny knocked down 2 3-pointers. Harrison Barnes knocked down 3 of them. Chris Paul knocked down 4 of them. Keldon Johnson knocked down 6. Charles Bassey was 5 of 6. Trey Jones knocked down a 3. Stephon Castle knocked down a 3. Trey Jones knocked down a 3. Joe, 8 players knocked down a 3-pointer yesterday. Spurs shot 41% from 3, 19-46. You're going to win games.
That was a great 3-point shooting performance from the San Antonio Spurs against a good shooting OKC team.
And I believe OKC made 11 of their first 20, but made only 5 of the next 33.
Yeah, the Spurs, the disparity here between OKC and the Spurs, OKC didn't go to the line very much. They were 6 of 7, for the free throw attempts, good enough for 85.7. Spurs went to the free throw line 13 of 19 times, right?
Mhm.
They were 13 of 19. Good enough for 68.4% from the stripe. The one thing that I'd like to commend the Spurs team as far as the way they played yesterday, is they played with ganas.
Yes, they
There
did.
was no wimpy ganas. It was ganas,
Dude, and
play with some balls.
dude, think about Castle finding Bassey over and over and over again. They had not shared the court together much this season.
Yeah.
At all for the most part. And there was a connection between the two, whether it be an alley-oop or finding him down low. Bassey had a great game. Don't get me wrong. But if you look at Bassey's performance, who was feeding him the ball? It was Castle.
Yeah.
Every single time it was Castle.
They were in sync with each other, man.
They were, man.
And look, we got an incoming super chat here from the Drew Show. Thank you, Drew. Appreciate you, man.
This is why I love the show. We get an hour plus of basketball and Spurs talk after a game, other podcasts and local radio. It's 24/7 Cowboys.
You get 5 minutes of Spurs.
He's asking about he wants a grito.
This is why I love the show. We get an hour plus of basketball, Spurs talk, and the grito. Okay, you're paying for it. Y'all paying for the grito. You're going to get the grito, man.
Presumir a mis amigos les conté que en el amor.
We'll take the $5 for a grito every single time, baby. Every single time. Spurs now 7-8 on the season, 6-3 at home. Utah Jazz coming up next. Spurs going to go 8-8, be 500. Right now, when it comes to the tankathon, where the Spurs are drafting right now, it's looking like we're drafting 11-18, Joe.
Yeah,
11-18.
Leja's asking, he goes, are you saying Spurs are better without Wemby, Joe? No, what I was saying is that the team has shown that they can play with some heart and they can play with some ganas, man, when they don't have their star player in the mix, Wemby. So that means that when Wemby returns, you want to see the same energy and intensity that you saw out of this team when they played without him. You want to see that same energy when he's getting inserted into the starting lineup again to play with him there on the court. Can you imagine if they had this energy for the entire 48 minutes when Wemby's in the lineup?
Okay, Joe. Not going to bash.
Just saying.
I'm not going to bash. But I ask you this question, Joe. Is it coincidental that all of this aligned when Mitch Johnson took over?
Just saying, the team's they're playing really good with Mitch Johnson at the helm. There's no lies detected in the statement.
Mitch Johnson, as Anthony pointed out earlier today, calling timeouts when they should be called, intense when he does it, has lineups out there that are different. Starting Stephon Castle, leaving Vassell on the bench. Dude, I'm sorry, man, but Mitch Johnson is lining up the colors of the Rubik's Cube very well.
Look at Renji. The offense flows better without Victor, Jeremy, and Devin. Jeez, bro.
You know what? 2 out of 3 is correct on that. Go to Locked On Spurs today. It's going to be dropping in the next few minutes. Jeff Garcia, where we go over the analytics of the Spurs team through 15 games. You're going to see that when you come out with the best lineups analytically for the Spurs, which compares offensive rating and defensive rating, the 2 names you don't see are Jeremy Sohan and Devin Vassell.
Oh, God. You know what we do got to do? We got to give some love to our boy.
What name you do see? Julian Champagny.
Popping bottles, brother. He finally got on board. Well, we got to give some love to MCS General Contracting. So here we go. MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leja over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
Joe Garcia is repping the merch right now when it comes to the hat. But if you can show my screen, Joe. If you can show my screen, they have tumblers out. I saw this on Chris Leja's Instagram page. MCS logo. It's a Yeti.
Yeah.
I love tumblers, dude. But look at the next one. Hashtag Diamond Hard.
Yeah,
that Diamond Hard concrete. So Leja mentioned to me on Twitter last night that they're taking orders for this. So if you want one, reach out to me, reach out to Leja, and order one. I've asked for 2. He says the more that people order, the less it costs per unit.
Yeah,
right?
The thing that I'm going to wind up doing too is I'm going to get into this business here of laser engraving.
Yeah.
I'm going to order me a whole setup, dude.
Nice.
It's going to set me back a couple hundred, like $600-700. But once I do, I'll be able to do all this kind of stuff.
You know what? Maybe you and I go into joint venture. Maybe I pay for half of that.
It's going to be a nice venture, dude, because once you get the setup, you just get that little roller that comes with.
Yeah.
And you put tumblers on there and it can etch on everything. Glass, metal, you name it.
Well, here's the thing. I've ordered 2 from Leja. One I'm going to keep for myself because I collect these things.
Yeah.
But then one's going to be a giveaway.
There you go.
We give stuff away on Friday. Do we have a giveaway this Friday?
Yeah, we're going to have giveaways this Friday. Because we didn't do it last Friday because we had some guests on. And we want to be able to talk with one Johnny Walker.
So you know, we talked a lot about the Spurs. I know that we're coming up on it real fast since we didn't touch on the Cowboys. It's not so much talking about the Cowboys, but it's making
MCS General Contracting. Sorry about that.
It's making fun of the Cowboys. Finger. This is a post from RJ Ochoa of Blogging the Boys. You know, he's a Cowboys super fan.
Yeah.
Says the Dallas Cowboys have only one of the 5 most viewed games of the NFL season.
Dude.
If there were ever an indication that there is a legitimate apathy fatigue about them, this is it. The average viewer for NFL games is 17.5 million. The highest watched game was the Chiefs and the Bills. Chiefs and Ravens were number 2. Number 3 was Chiefs against the Bengals. Number 4 was the Cowboys against the Ravens, but that was week 3, I believe. So it was early on in the season. And then the Chiefs and the Niners. So right now, America's team is the Chiefs. People want to watch Patrick Mahomes. Who they're not wanting to watch right now is the Dallas Cowboys.
Who would want to see that, dude? It's just a debacle. You know what you're going to get from the Cowboys. A poor performance and a blowout. How is that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Would you want to see that? If they say, Mike, man, the game of the evening, man, is going to be Cowboys versus another team. You're going to be like, nah, I'm all right.
Good. I'm good.
Anything with Cowboys in it, you're going to be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. So let's see. Today's Wednesday, right?
Today's Wednesday.
We need to have a Friday. No, I'll be in on Friday.
Yeah, we'll get Johnny Walker on.
I need a guest host on Monday.
All right.
Because I'm moving my daughter from Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I forgot about
to
that.
San Antonio.
That's going to be a long drive, brother.
Dude, okay, so I'm flying into Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna hang out with the Chica for a day.
And then
gonna then get a U-Haul at the Penske truck.
Drive
it from Houston to Baton Rouge. Gonna go get my daughter in there. Gonna come back, spend Sunday back in Houston. Monday, drive to San Antonio, move her into her apartment. She begins a new job. She's going to be the digital content producer.
Congratulations.
Over at KSAT 12. I'll post photos of my daughter. They had my daughter in front of the table, the desk.
Recreate the photo.
It's amazing, dude. It's amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. It's a good full circle moment there for your daughter, and I'm sure you're a proud dad. You know, seeing how far she's come. You know, completing school and interning and doing what she's doing. And she was coming back home.
Was an intern at the Virginia Pilot in Virginia Beach. Was an actual full-fledged reporter. At the Advocate in Baton Rouge. Now she's heading back to San Antonio as a digital content producer, which basically means when you go on to ksat12.com or their Facebook page and whatnot, she's kind of one of the ones at the helm for it all. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, congratulations, Mike. You know, one thing that we got to make sure we do here before we end the show is we got to go ahead and give you some love.
That's right, dude. I've been in finance for 19 years, but I restarted my business during COVID. 210-508-0369. If you have any questions about retirement accounts, have any questions about life insurance, disability, dude, I've sold like 4 life insurance policies in the last 2 weeks. When it comes to investments, I'm at 16.5 million, growing even more and more as time goes on. A lot of people are excited because the election's over. They want to reposition their assets. If you have an old IRA, old 401k, need some help with that, need to roll it over, need to start something. I had somebody reach out to me yesterday and say, Michael, what does it take to start an investment account?
Yeah.
$250. $250 starts you an account. And you can do wealth management starting at $5,500. You can do annuities starting at $25,000. So all depends on what you're trying to do. I am a fiduciary, which means everything I say and do needs to be in the client's best interest. Love doing what I do. I've had a successful run so far the last 4 years. And it just keeps on building, man. So it's amazing. People come up to me and they've oftentimes have given me crap on social media about the sports star exit and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is that ever since then, my business blew up, man.
There you go.
So I am better off doing this podcast with you, Joe.
You're making more
than
money.
Ever doing.
You have more time to do other things, for your business.
That's what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
baby. That's what I'm talking about. Joe, this was a fun show. Thank you to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5.
Yeah,
Again,
thanks,
I'm
Jeff.
today's guest. We get analytical about it. So everyone check that out. Drew Show saying you recognize Mike, and them W2s give Michael a call so he can keep stacking those dollar bills, y'all.
Yeah, man. Making it rain.
Dude, none of my clients are mad right now about their investments. I'll tell you that much, man. I put them in good stuff. So again, reach out to me, 210-508-0369.
Tony Ornelas, great show, great laughs. Thank you, Tony, for being one of the faithful that watches all the time with Mario Cavazos as well. Matt Gomez. We appreciate you guys, man. Staying here till the very end, dude. And even Drew Show, we appreciate your support as well, man. Thank you all so much.
Very nice. Very nice. Everyone have a fantastic day. We'll be back tomorrow. Again, I'm not at the current Mike Carlos, not mad at you, baby. Not mad.
He'll be at our next outing.
See you guys tomorrow.